Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's menu is this sumptuous looking smoky Nigerian jollof. So come along, let's see how we were able to achieve this. So let me quickly run us through the ingredients. This is everything at a glance, and let me start with the main ingredients, which is rice. Of course, what is jollof rice without rice? This is 10 cups of rice. Then we have the pepper family, and we have tomato, we have scotch bonnet pepper. The quantity of the pepper depends on your tolerance level for pepper actually. Then we have bawa, which is called cayenne pepper. Then no paprika, we couldn't get paprika. We have onions, we have bell pepper, which is also good for aroma. We couldn't get cayenne pepper, but you can always use bell pepper as well. And this is the blended form, everything in its blended form. Now this is tomato paste. This is Derica brand, to be precise. I love this brand so much and I'll recommend it, but you can now actually use any one that is within your reach. You can use any one, they are all nice, but I really love Derica. Then we have the Knorr seasoning powder. We have bay leaves, which is, of course, there's no jollof rice without bay leaves. Then we also have nutmeg. Nutmeg does a lot of extra magic, even though I would prefer to use the fresh one as well. Then we have thyme and curry powder. Then we have chopped onions. As you can see, chopped onions. We have salt to taste. Then we have sliced tomatoes and onions. Try to make them this thin. You can see it's been sliced in this thin form. Try to make them as thin as possible. Then yes, I forgot to show you guys vegetable oil. Then we have chicken broth. Of course, there is no jollof rice without chicken broth. Yes. Lastly, we have butter. This one is for finishing touch. It's for the last minute. That's when we're adding the butter. So this is everything at a glance. Basically, everything we're going to be using. It's a very simple recipe. So now in an empty pot, I'm adding 3 cooking spoons of vegetable oil. 3 cooking spoons. That's to 10 cups of rice. Remember, we're still going to add butter later on, so you don't want it too oily. So once it's heated, we pour in our chopped onions, 1 big onions actually. Then allow it to fry. Just allow it fry a little bit, just to disturb your neighbors, you know what I mean, just to disturb the atmosphere of the environment. Then pour in the tomato paste. Allow this also fry for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. And yes, just allow it fry for 5 minutes, after which you begin to add your spices. So now it's frying. You can see the bubbles. Make sure it fries well, you know. So now after it fries very well, we are going to start adding our spices, and we are starting with bay leaves. That's the first thing we are adding. Then we add our curry, 2 spoons of curry. Then the next thing is to add our thyme. Everything is dried. We're adding dried thyme as well. Then we're adding nutmeg. That's, yes, the blended powdered nutmeg. Then we're also adding it and mixing everything up. Just make sure you mix everything up together. And then at this point, you can see everything is, frying. Then we add our blended pepper. Remember the red blended pepper we blended smoothly. Make sure you blend it smoothly. So we're now adding it at this point. We didn't pre-boil it. We're not parboiling it or doing anything. We're just adding it straight away like that. We're not boiling or cooking or doing anything to the pepper. We're just adding it straight after blending it. You can see the redness. It's everything combined. The redness of your jollof is determined by your combination of the peppers. So now we're adding seasoning. You remember the Knorr powdered seasoning. You can use any one you like. Yes, but we're using Knorr. For the purpose of this video, we're using Knorr seasoning powder. And you can see it's beginning to steam up. So now, last but not the least, we're adding salt to taste. Of course, we've added. Jollof is a very simple recipe. You see, we didn't use much ingredients. basically. So it's just, those things. So now we're adding the chicken broth to it, which is the last thing we're adding before covering it up. So we are mixing everything up. We're not adding extra water to it. There is no need to add extra water. So we allowed it to cook for 10 minutes. And at this point, we are going to introduce our rice. So I poured in the washed rice. I washed it behind the camera, just to save time, guys. So after washing everything, I poured it into the pepper mix. We're not adding extra water because we don't want the rice to be mashed up. The pepper mix is just enough to cook the rice, so we don't need extra water. So at this point, we're covering it up with either a nylon. You can either use a nylon or you can use a foil paper, but I love using nylon bag to cover it up. Nylon bag just does it for me. So at this point, it's been after 20 minutes, and you want to put your cooker or your stove or whatever it is on medium heat. Please, we're not putting it on either low or high. It should be in the middle. So you can see what it looks like after 20 minutes on medium heat, because you want it cooked slowly. Remember, we didn't add water to it, so you don't want it to burn, and at the same time we want it to cook properly. So at this point, I'm mixing everything up, but not to the bottom of the pot, because we don't want it to burn still. You can see it's not really done yet, so we're not adding anything extra again. We're just mixing it just to make sure the ingredients circulate. So yes, that is it, guys. At this point, we're covering it back again, and we are gradually increasing the heat at this point. So now we can see it's almost cooked. So now we are removing I'm going to remove the bay leaves. This is why I opened it, at this point, just to remove the bay leaves. I don't know why caterers in parties leave bay leaves inside jollof rice. I don't know if it's for decoration, but there's really no need leaving bay leaves inside food, because it's not edible. So what's the point of leaving it in your rice for decoration? So at this point, I just opened it to remove the bay leaves, and as you can see, it's swelling up gradually and cooking uniformly. So at this point, after removing the bay leaves, I mixed it again, but I made sure I didn't mix it to the bottom of the pot so it doesn't burn. So this is the point where we put in the tomato. Remember the sliced tomato and onions. This is the point where we add everything when it's like 90% cooked. At this point, it's not 100% done, but it's more than halfway gone. So we're adding the sliced onions and the sliced tomato at this point, just when it's like 10 minutes to the final cooking time. So you're adding it at this point, it's like 90% cooked. So you're adding the sliced onions and the sliced, this one is just for decoration, just for aesthetics purpose. You see the jollof you see with strands of onions and tomatoes. So this is how it's prepared. So now we are covering it again. There's a lot of covering to do, guys, because all we need is the steam. Steam is just enough to cook your jollof. You don't need water. So again, after 10 minutes, at this point, everything is now done. And I forgot to mention, after adding the onions and tomatoes, you should increase the fire to the highest. Like, you need to purposely let the jollof burn. This is where you get the smoke from. So after adding the onions and the tomatoes, I increased the fire to the highest, like on high heat, just to let it burn deliberately. So that is where the smoky flavor comes from. You can see it's even swollen. So that's it, guys. Our jollof is ready. So at this point, this is the last thing we are doing before we finally switch off the lights. The fire. So now this is the point where we add the butter. This one is just for it to give it that shiny, beautiful look. So at this point, we are adding the butter and mixing it up. As you are mixing, it's even melting. So at this point, you're just mixing it. You can even mix it after you have turned off the fire, because the heat is enough to melt the butter. So this is the last thing we are doing before removing the food from fire. So guys, you can see your smoky jollof is ready, and it's as easy and simple as that. So those are the only ingredients you need. No more, no less. You don't need too much serere for your jollof. Because you don't want too much ingredients. It's going to make it cluster, and it won't give you that local taste. So that's it, guys. We covered it again just for a few minutes. just to make sure the butter melts equally. So that's it, guys. Everything is done. You can see at this point it's just to bring your cooler and begin to pour it inside. That's if you have a party to do. Yeah, so that's it, guys. That's it about your party jollof. So you can even see the smoke from under. So that's it. That's all to it, and I hope this video is helpful. Please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I am begging you, please subscribe to this channel. Till I see you in my next video, please take care and God bless you. Bye bye.